Good morning. I'm Carmen McBride, and I'm honored to be your worship associate today. My pronouns are she and her. I'm wearing black top, black pants, and a red sweater in celebration of Valentine's Day. Welcome, everyone. Our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. This hour is an opportunity to reflect and open ourselves to encounter the sacred. Thank you to our wonderful team of volunteers and staff who make Sunday mornings possible. And welcome to those of you joining us on YouTube. Please share where you are in the chat. Now would be a good time to silence your devices if you haven't done so already. We have a number of great events for all ages and interests. So first of all, be sure next Sunday to come hungry because we have the Alliance's annual Bucket Dip Luncheon and Fundraiser. Where else can you go and get a scoop for $1? We want to ensure that we have current contact information for all of our members and friends. There are 2 printed copies of our directory in Daniel Hall. So please check that after the service to make sure your contact information is correct, and please let us know what gender pronouns you use. These will be used in the future for our name tags. Thanks for your help in keeping our community welcoming and connected. Please see your order of service, weekly newsletter, or the When You See website for additional events. We want you to be informed and aware that community life is a shared responsibility. If you're not yet on our email list, please scan the QR code that's in your order of service to sign up, or you can click the newcomer section online. Let's take a moment now to greet those seated near you and to offer a quick greeting to those back at When You See. And you know what to do when the bell rings. Thanks for creating the warm welcome of community. After the service, follow the crowd through these double doors to continue those conversations, have some coffee, and make some new friends. We strive to make When You See as safe as possible. Please note the closest exits to where you are sitting today. In the event of a fire, we will exit the building together and gather at the north lawn just past the sidewalks. Please do not drive away until we have all of your information. If you have children in the RE program, please do not get them. The teachers will take them to our designated spot. In the very unlikely event of someone enacting violence, remember, run, hide, and fight. And finally, in the event of a medical emergency, there is an AED located in the main corridor near the church office. And now, a special pledge message from Sandra Flansburgh and Bernice Kane.
Good morning. I am Sandra Flansburgh, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am your current president this year. I'm here to announce on behalf of the Stewardship Committee that today is the launch of our pledge drive. It runs from February 15th today through March 15th, and you will be making a pledge for your intent to give starting in July, our new church year. In celebration, because it really is a joyous time for our church, we invite you to join us in Daniel Hall following the service. I believe that the latest plans are that we will have chalice cookies made by our kids. We will have some music. We will have a stewardship table where you can turn in pledges or ask questions, speak to a member of our stewardship committee, and just in general celebrate our church and what we believe in about it. The stewardship table will have extra pledge forms for you to use if you would like. You can also use the QR code that I believe is on the back of the order of service. Yes, that will take you to an online pledge form. And if you are turning in your pledge today or making your pledge online, you are invited, or intend to do that in the next week or so, you are invited to go to the Stewardship Committee table, and there's a banner, and write why you support our church financially. We've got it started, but we need your help. And there's some joyful announcements today. We are grateful for the response from our larger donors traditionally to this church, who are invited to make their pledges early, and also a handful of other really committed members. And we are kicking off the pledge drive this year with $103,000 already made. And we're having a little competition between church groups and committees, and I was just informed that Befrienders is our first group to have 100% made their pledges. So because not everyone knows what a pledge is, I wanted to just say a few sentences about what a pledge is. I needed a little education when I came to the church 23 years ago. And I thought throwing $10 in the offering plate every Sunday was my contribution. So we can talk about pledges as kind of a responsibility of membership, but in my mind, it's so much more. Your pledge, and we're calling it your intent to give, is a statement of your belief in our community, in the work that we do here within these walls and also out in the world, especially in Oklahoma City. It's a lot like nurturing community and pursuing the common good. That's a big part of our mission. And every single person has a contribution to make. So your pledge, and Unitarians leave it up to individual members to make that pledge. We can't threaten you with God and hellfire and all that kind of stuff. But if you believe in this church, we suggest like 3 to 5% of your income, or if you've given this year, you can increase your pledge. We're inviting you to consider 10%, or add another $10 on to your monthly giving that you're currently doing. Whatever you feel is significant to you and makes a statement about how you feel about the church and our work, it's up to you to decide. So more than paying the bills, which is important, your contribution helps the church be more and do more at a time when I believe our institutional presence is needed critically in the world right now. So please make your pledge today if you can, but regardless, come to Daniel Hall and celebrate with us this time of year. Thank you. And I would like to invite Bernice Kane, and can I call you an elder statesman, Bernice? He's at least a beloved member of our congregation. He's going to tell you why he supports the church.
My pronouns are he and him, and I'm a 50-year plus member of this church. So I know a lot about the history and the people and how we've developed over the years. I'm dressed like they used to be dressed for everything around here, and I'm thankful that we've changed that a lot. I was, when I was a young man, I went to Bible college 3 years, and then I went to Oklahoma Baptist University so I could be a Christian philosopher. Well, I failed at both of those things. I never really was. I came out and I wasn't a Christian, and I also came out and I wasn't much of a philosopher either. But somebody said, well, you ought to go to your viewpoints are a little bit like the Unitarians. In fact, it was the chairman of the Democratic Party who I was involved with. And he said, I think you would like that place. So I went down there and I realized that my ideas were welcomed and encouraged. And I met a young lady last week whose dad is a Baptist preacher like mine, and she is going through changes, and I tried to give her encouragement that this was the right step for her if she felt like it was. I think the number one reason that I would give, they're all about the same, but the Unitarian Church has been a lighthouse for people of free thought in this community. I remember when I came first time, I could not believe that there were people who thought just like me and didn't really, we all think differently, I should say, but we questioned and we were open. The other thing is the community that we have here. When I first came, we had leadership in all kinds of different groups. We did our out in the community more that way. Sierra Club, ACLU, we had people on the board. We had Planned Parenthood. League of Women Voters, we had the president, 2 or 3 presidents of the League of Women Voters. We had leaders of both Democrats and Republicans. That sounds odd now, but that was the way it was back then. And voice, we didn't have voice, so we all went out and did our own thing, and then came back here to be with people who we really enjoyed being with. I think also one of the reasons I give money is the church school and the youth programs. I raised both of my girls in the church, and they're phenomenal. No, they learned a lot. They were able to, if you have to live in Oklahoma, you better give your kids some education, religious education alternative. If you don't, I've seen people slip off into fundamentalism, all kinds of stuff. And our church at least gives you a good education for the children to develop. And it's the only place I know to give an alternative to what we get taught in most areas. I look at Jean McLaughlin back there. You were president of League of Women Voters 2 or 3 times, weren't you? Something like that. Anyway, we've had wonderful people, and the 50 years that I've been here, you cannot believe the leaders and the community leaders that we've had. The other thing that I like so much about our church is the church school and the youth programs. I taught in the church school for 10 years, and I think it's the only place for these kids to get an education apart from, if you go to school every day, you're going to get a bunch of fundamentalism. And at least you have an alternative if you put them in church. And that may be the main thing we do, is help children develop alternative views of the whole thing. And I also like most churches, I like the wonderful music, and we've really had some good ministers. Not saying all of them are good, but some of them that came in were drew a lot of people into the church, and I didn't care for them at all, but they brought in good people. So I've tried to think about that over the years. You'll have your own reasons for supporting the church, but I hope you will do so and enjoy At least think of these three things: the community, where we're a lighthouse in the community, and how that we teach our younger kids how to, it's an alternative to what they get in the schools. And they get it bad in the schools. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to say a few words to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra and Bernest. Our altar flowers this morning were given by the Delgados in celebration of their 31st wedding anniversary. Now would be a good time to light a candle or chalice if you're watching us online. Our chalice lighter this morning is Ruth Gordon, in honor and celebration of her birthday, which was yesterday on Valentine's Day. We light our chalice in Midtown Oklahoma City on land that was home to first Americans, including the Apache, Caddo, and Wichita, on land that was taken from the Muskogee and Seminole and other removed and relocated peoples. We light our chalice in the spirit of community, for the sacredness of community, for the lifeline of community, and the resilience within us. May our time here in beloved community nurture and fulfill us and make our hearts sing. I invite you now to join in reading our covenant in the order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Good morning. I am Reverend Kent. I am a tallish, middle-aged white man wearing a black clergy robe and a purple stole. It's embroidered with a flaming chalice. As surely as we belong to this big, beautiful universe, we belong together. So we join here to transcend our isolated self for a short time and to reconnect, to know ourselves at home, here on earth, under the stars, and linked with each other. Welcome to our time to be together for this hour of worship. Our opening hymn this morning is number 1015, I Know I Can. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to join in singing.
My sister in my heart. So brothers, take my hand, and sisters, sing my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know we will go on.
Would you join me for a short time of prayer? This comes from the Reverend Michelle Collins. Source of love, spirit of interdependence, we give thanks for the web that holds us, the hands that have steadied us, the voices that remind us we are not alone, the presence of those who have leaned on us just as we have leaned on them. Resilience is not a solitary triumph. It is woven through community of shared meals and gentle questions, laughter that breaks through grief, courage borrowed from another when our own runs thin. In this moment, let us remember that we are stronger together than apart. Amen. I have a story for our young or young at heart this morning. It's called The Hugging Tree. Some of us grew up with a, in retrospect, not so great story called The Giving Tree, where a little boy just took and took and took until that tree was gone. This is a revision of that story, perhaps. It says that on a bleak and lonely rock by a vast and mighty sea grew a lonely little tree where no tree should ever be. How she got there, no one knew. She sprouted stems and little leaves as any tiny seed will do. There's hardly any dirt for me. No forest breeze, no birds, no bees, but I will do the best I can to make this rock my home, she said. Her tiny roots pushed night and day, and bit by bit the rock gave way. A smidge, an inch, a foot, then two. She grew and grew and grew and grew. The ocean hugged the rocky shore. I like you near me, little tree. Let's keep each other company. Soft gold sunbeams kissed her crown, warm as honey pouring down. At night she raised her branches high to greet the moon up in the sky. The moon said, I wax and wane, I ebb and flow, I cycle through the full to thin. And when I'm done, I start again. That's how life is, you know. One summer noon, a pair of loons landed on her canopy. A pretty tree, a sparkling sea. Shall we make this place our home and raise our baby chicks right here? A little tree warmed up with pride. She spread her branches high and wide. I'll be your home, she replied. And can you tell me if you're seen the forest where my family grew? We've built our nest in trees like you, quite far from here. And so you blew many nights and many days. You flew on wind just like we do. They built their nest, they laid their eggs, and soon 2 baby chicks were born. Summer passed, autumn too. The little tree turned red and gold. Then winter came, and howling winds and cutting cold that broke her boughs. The loons flew south, the sea all ice, the rock all snow. The moon was lost in thunder clouds. Mighty cliff, hold me tight, don't let me blow away. The cliff said, little tree, with all my might, I'll hold you close night and day. Storms will come and storms will go, At last the sun melted the snow, but now the tree could not grow. The storm had torn her roots. The moon gazed down and softly said, "Sometimes we lose our way. But with some help, we start again. That's how life is, you know." And soon a boy came running by, skipping stones into the sea. When he saw the little tree, he stopped and stared. He touched her tiny leaves, he felt her ragged roots, and he shook his head and said, "I can bring just what you need. I can help you, little tree." A tree can't hug a boy. It has no hands or arms, but it can hug you with its heart, and that is just as deep and warm. Every day the boy came back carrying a full backpack, full to pack. From the pack he took a tin and poured out rich brown earth. He packed the roots and tucked them in. He planted flowers around the tree and made a path for all to see. Now everyone will know that even on a granite cliff, a little tree can grow. And then he went to sleep and dreamed the things that boys dream of. Now every day, new people stop to rest beneath the little tree and dream the things we all dream of: to love, to share, to give, to dare, to grow just where we are. And to this very day, they come. For on a splendid sunny rock by a warm and bright blue sea, a great big hugging tree grows just where she was meant to be. Here ends our story for today. It's time now for you all to head off to your clubs. I think there's a games club and an arts club, and we will see you in a little bit. How could anyone ever tell you you were less than gold? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than gold? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Yesterday, as I was heading to Norman with my mom for the 3rd anniversary of my son's shop, my ears picked up on a story shared on This American Life on NPR. The gist of it was the father was explaining the story of Jesus in a nutshell to his 4-year-old daughter. He said that Jesus got into trouble with the Roman government because they didn't like what he was saying. Do unto others as you would have done unto you, and for being a voice of the people. Then the daughter saw the statue of Jesus on the cross, and he had to tell her, yes, Jesus was killed. Some days later, the father and daughter went to a restaurant for lunch, as she had the day off from school for MLK Jr.'s birthday. They sat down at the table, and on that table was a local newspaper with a picture of Martin Luther King Jr. She asked, "Who is that man?" Her father replied that the man was the reason she had the day off, that he was a great man, a preacher who wanted all people to be treated fairly. Like Jesus, she asked. He thought for a minute and said, yes. And her final question, did they kill him too? I was blown away by the depth of understanding of that 4-year-old mind. My mother felt the same. If life gives you lemons, find the person that life gave sugar to and form a team. Then find the person that life gave water to and be a gang, a sweet, refreshing gang. I love this quote by Shane Koizikan and the vision that it creates in my mind. First, it puts a smile on my face just thinking about it, and then it reminds me that we are in this thing called community together, and to make it work to its maximum capability, that's what we need to do. A great example of this for me was during the ice storm of 2020. It was devastating to hear the crack, crack, crack all around me of trees falling around my home and the neighborhood, and in the aftermath to hear the eerie silence, and then to see it on a larger scale on TV, local TV stations. What left an impression on me, though, was how everyone banded together with chainsaws and other tools that were needed to help those that especially needed the help, including our church. We create these bonds in all ways, reaching out to do what is just and what is right within and outside of ourselves, our beloved church community, and the larger community of the city, state, country, and world. Like with our Change for Change recipients, our work with Voice. Then we have the current crisis with our immigrant brothers and sisters, people of color, LGBTQ+ people, loss of empathy for humanity, the rule of law or democracy. What do we do? I know one thing that we don't do. We don't stop. We are stronger when we continue to build our networks for the common good, working together to do the work of justice and love. We are resilient. And as the Father said and the daughter understood, do unto others as you would have done to you. And as for lemonade, our gang is right here, in front of you, next to you, behind you. Ready to make some lemonade? Generosity is a spiritual practice that we embrace every Sunday when we take an offering. All the cash and designated checks are distributed directly to an external nonprofit doing good work in the world. This month, our offering supports the Micah Community Movement. This local organization supports those on the margins, particularly the unhoused and elderly. Motivated by God's love, they provide tangible resources and friendship to our Oklahoma City neighbors. And they welcome and empower the next generations to serve. In November of 2022, Reverend Doug Forsberg, with 5 students and 8 faculty members from Southern Nazarene University, formed an urban student ministry nonprofit named Micah Community Movement. In June 2025, the Micah Community Center opened its doors as a drop-in center for the unhoused in Northwest Oklahoma City. As we enjoy the offertory music, our ushers will pass the offering plate in the sanctuary. Online, you can make a gift through the One You See website, or you can send a check to First Unitarian and put Change for Change in the memo line. Would the ushers please come forward and receive the offering?
Would you join me for a short moment of meditation or prayer, just a time of quiet together? Namaste. Amen. Shalom and blessed be. One of the things that I appreciate about Unitarian Universalism is we don't shy away from uncomfortable topics. Quite the opposite. The scary stuff, the things that maybe we don't have words for yet, those are the things that we most need to explore in our sacred and safe space together. When we think about making space safer and living our faith, the leader Theodore Parker comes to my mind. He's perhaps most commonly quoted with his phrase, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." Abraham Lincoln borrowed that phrase from Parker, along with a lot of his other big ideas. Parker's a hugely influential Unitarian minister of the 1800s. 3,000 people or more regularly came to hear him preach in Boston on Sunday mornings. He's a fascinating, overlooked figure of American history. One of the topics that was near and dear to Parker was the abolition of slavery. It was a burning topic of his time, but he also made it very personal. This was Unitarianism in practice. As a stop on the Underground Railroad, Parker sheltered people who had escaped slavery in his own home. Knowing the danger of trying to live up to his commitment to protect his guests, Parker always kept a loaded pistol in his desk drawer at home. He saw it as his duty to defend the people that he sheltered. It's striking how relevant the bravery of leaders from 180 years ago can be today. Even in Boston, Parker was targeted with hateful messages. There are stories of bricks being thrown through the window during worship. He knew that there was a cost to raising his voice. He knew that if he was going to offer shelter to vulnerable people, it was his duty to protect them. Now, the lesson that I get out of all of this is not about keeping a gun in my desk drawer, I promise. The lesson I get here is that we have to think seriously about living our faith fully. We take our calling seriously to welcome all people, especially those who are marginalized. If we're going to welcome marginalized people, and to speak our values into the public square, we need to speak frankly about the risk involved in doing that. I don't want to be alarmist. It is extremely unlikely that First Unitarian would get targeted for violence. In 20 years in UU ministry, being pretty darn outspoken, the most aggressive thing I have encountered was hateful voicemail messages on an answering machine at the church. Statistically and historically, we are unlikely to be targets. But fear is real, and we want this to be a safer space. And we may be tempted to think of weapons and walls when it comes to safety, but relationships are just as important as those physical tools. On my journey toward ministry, I took a short sidetrack into the Peace Corps. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I think at the age of 22, I wasn't quite ready to jump into ministry. As college was wrapping up, I decided to take some time to figure out my next steps. So I was assigned to Ivory Coast, or Côte d'Ivoire as they call it. I had to look it up on a map too. It's in West Africa. The focus of my work was water and sanitation, primarily educating folks about clean drinking water and building latrine facilities. One evening there in the village, I was sitting on my porch listening to the daily news source, the BBC World Service. I remember so vividly, as the sun was setting, I heard the news. In Abidjan, the capital of Côte d'Ivoire, there's been an attempted coup. The army general seems to have taken control of the capital, the reporter went on. I listened closer. A military overthrow of the government was underway. I was a solo Peace Corps volunteer in my village of about 500 people. This was long before cell phones. To get to any guidance, I would have to take public transportation, which was a 2-hour ride in the back of a pickup truck. It went once a day. I was on that truck the next day. I went to sort of a small regional Peace Corps house and met up with other volunteers. We were instructed to return to our village, pack up our things and say our goodbyes, and come back to this small local regional house. We waited there for a week for further instructions. The process seemed to drag on. Then suddenly one day we hired a bus and drove the 5 hours into the capital city. We made a quick swing through the headquarters before we were escorted across the border to Ghana by some mysterious black SUVs. The timing was really confusing. Why had we been left lingering in the outskirts of the country for over a week? Why hadn't they just called us to the main compound in the capital? And I learned a lot from my Peace Corps experience about cultural differences and about myself. But in this rushed end of my service, I mostly learned about the security that relationships provide. In our debriefing, we learned that volunteers are always safest in their village or in the regional cities where they know their neighbors. Volunteers are always safest where people know them. In the capital city, where we had a compound with high walls and barbed wire, we were more vulnerable because the relationships were not as well established there. When things get really messy, relationships are what keep us safe, not walls or barbed wire. That experience forever changed my understanding of security. Relationships are just as important as force. The more we know our neighbors, and the more we know different types of people, the safer our world will be. Let's talk a little bit about the details of safety here at First Unitarian. I haven't experienced a full-scale tornado warning in a while. I remember they are not fun. Rest assured, there are safe areas here at the church. Just about any part of the church is safer than this room we are sitting in. But if we are in worship, instructions will be given from the pulpit. If you're in Daniel Hall, a church leader will turn off and on those lights a few times like intermission. Please listen carefully as they give you instructions. If a tornado warning or emergency happens while we're here together, we will move quickly and safely to Corley Commons. That's downstairs in the basement if you don't know where that is. The second safest place is the hallway next to the bathrooms, down that way. Obviously, those are smaller spaces. So we will do our best to make room and get cozy for that short tornado experience. In all of our emergency instructions, you will hear, please help those near you who may need assistance. For this community, mutual help is essential. If you need assistance, that is not a time to be shy or proud. Let your fellow church members know that you need a boost from your seat or a steady shoulder to help with walking, because we want to do that. Let's talk a little bit about fires. I was hoping to do a fire drill today at the end of service, but the pledge campaign celebration and that didn't quite align with each other's purposes. But we will have a fire drill on another Sunday. There are fire extinguishers, one up here next to the pulpit and one in that entryway. There's a big one in the kitchen. Strangely, there's one in the women's restroom. And they are scattered in other locations throughout the building. Hopefully, we won't need to use those, but accidents do happen, especially when we light candles and chalices. In the event of a serious fire, our fire alarms will sound. They are a loud, screeching, high-pitched, awful sound that you will not miss. People in the sanctuary should exit whatever the closest door is, and as you're hearing regularly, we will gather out on the north lawn far away from the building. Please do not leave until we have accounted you. Even if you can walk home, we want to know that you are safely out of the building. That's really important. And finally, let's talk about the danger that may come from people. If someone insists on disrupting our worship service in a way that is not physically violent, they will be told to leave, and we will call the police immediately to remove them. Until the police arrive, we will likely sing together Spirit of Life, which is hymn number 123, over and over and loudly. If someone enters our community set on enacting violence, we have a very different protocol. Remember, run, hide, fight. I want you to remember those words in that order: run, hide, fight. And anytime you hear news of a shooting situation, remember those words: run, hide, fight. It's what you will do here, and it's what you would do anywhere that you encounter that sort of danger. The first and best thing to do is to run or walk as quickly as possible, or roll as quickly as possible, away from the sound of gunfire or an unarmed person. If it's inside the building, evacuate and move out until you are a safe distance and hidden behind a car or a boulder or a tree or something that keeps you safe. When you are a safe distance away, call 911. Never assume that someone else has called 911. I know we hear this, but it's easy to forget things. And we can also text 911 if we're in a situation where we cannot speak aloud. That service is available in Oklahoma City. The second best thing to do is to hide. Hide in an area away from view, ideally in a room. Once you're there, you can lock the door if possible and barricade it with furniture. Remain there until you have heard from law enforcement that the situation is safe. And the last option is to fight. If you cannot run or hide, the only option is to fight, and do not hesitate. By disabling a shooter, you are protecting the inherent worth and dignity of every other person in this congregation. Look around you and see what might be used as a weapon. Throw what you can. Those fire extinguishers that I mentioned might be of use in that way too. Act with as much physical aggression toward the shooter as you can muster. There are two additional notes that you may not have thought of, but are important. First, in a violent situation, do not trigger the fire alarm. Adding fire alarm creates a whole lot more chaos and may lead people to leaving places that they have safely hidden to pursue safety, which can make the situation way more dangerous for everyone. And second, as you are leaving the building, or especially running from an incident, keep your hands visible to law enforcement. They likely will be very suspicious of you, whoever you are, and may not be kind in that moment. Just follow the process and trust them until the circumstances have been evaluated. Okay, let's all take a deep breath together. You are safe here and now. It feels very stressful even hearing about those dangers. Hopefully, the more we think through those possibilities in a calm situation, the more prepared we will be if something does happen. Again, it is extremely unlikely that any of those emergencies will occur. But tending to our safety is one of the ways we express our love and concern for one another. There are many, many more ways that I see love bubbling up in our community every day. Thank you for helping make this a safe and welcoming place. One of the ways that I see that love bubbling up is in organizations like the Community Response Network that we learned about yesterday here. That organization mobilizes legal observers as volunteers anytime that ICE is active or in detaining people. But what we don't see and what we didn't understand in the stories in Minneapolis this past few months, they're also working behind the scenes. In addition to observing ICE, this loving network helps families collect those abandoned cars that drivers were plucked out of. That network also helps families when children and pets are left unattended to get that news out to other family members. They provide meals to immigrants whose communities are struggling financially because they have been under siege by ICE. The network of love in action is an invaluable support for families and communities under siege. It's not a particularly new model. The same thing was happening in the Montgomery bus boycotts. We similarly didn't learn about that backstory either. A whole army of people were providing rides for over a year for individuals. They were helping find jobs when jobs were endangered. They even provided shoes because so many shoes were worn out from walking those extra miles to and from work. Without that network of love and action, the boycott never would have held. The challenging thing about these networks of trust is that they are slow and they take time to build. Most of us want to jump in and fix a problem. More and more, though, we Unitarian Universalists, we mostly white, mostly middle-class progressives are learning that sustainable change starts with relationships. Showing up in a reliable way over and over again. Be the change you want to see in the world is often used as a motivational statement. As I get older, I hear it more as a tremendous challenge. It doesn't say vote your values. It doesn't say send a check. It doesn't say education is the key. All of those things are important and true. But being the change we want to see in the world, to me, is a question of who we are to one another in relationship. For most of us, the change we want to see looks like a network of love in action. Whether it's in tornado season, or recovering from surgery, or democratic backsliding, our Our strength is in the strands of love that connect us. Material resources and institutions are lovely and they are helpful, but really, our salvation is in one another and in love. Amen. Our closing hymn today, fittingly, is We'll Build a Land. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to sing number 121 in your gray hymnals. Would you please be seated?
While we extinguish this chalice, let the warmth of its fuel, or the warmth of its flame, fuel us for the work ahead. Be a reminder of our time together in beloved community, and guide all the lemon holders in their quest to find the sugar and water makers.
May our lives be a reflection of the love, beauty, and joy that is possible in this world. Friends, go in peace. Let the light within you be a blessing to the world.